Hello, guys. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you may be. Happy Hump Day. So, I have a really neat piece of currency I'm going to show you here. And just like the title indicates, it's going to be something that you're never going to see at the bank unless someone is foolhardy enough to actually turn in something like this to get a few bucks in their bank account. Stranger things have happened, but let's go ahead and take a look here. Something different for you guys to gloss over. Let me go ahead and move lighting around here so it's a little better. There we go. All right, so you saw part of the thumbnail there. So we have a 50. This one's graded. Let's say PMG. How cool is that, guys? When was the last time you've seen engraving quite like that? What do we got here? It looks like a national banknote. 50. I've never owned a 50, so this is exciting. East St. Louis, Illinois. Who's this guy right here? General Sherman on his own note. So what we have here is a 1902 $50 national banknote from the First National Bank in East St. Louis. And it's charter number 11596. Okay, there are a total of 15,000 chartered banks. Okay, and this is what they call a plain back. So let me go ahead and flip it around here. So plain back doesn't have the dates on the top here, okay? And then you have a date back, which have the dates printed on the reverse. Look at this dude. Yeah, I got going on. And she's over there like, yeah, I'm not digging that. She got breast exposed, which kind of tells you that it's kind of a lost art with this kind of highly detailed printing that you don't see on modern currency. And look at all this writing. This note is receivable at par in all parts of the United States in payment of all taxes and excises and all other dues to the United States, except duties on imports and also for all salaries, I was going to say sellable, and other debts and demands owing by the United States to individuals, corporations, and associations within the United States except interest on public debt. Oh my God, that's a lot of jargon. That's a lot of stuff. This was a common occurrence on currency 100 years ago. And you know, the funny thing is, the people at these banks actually know what that was at the time. Seeing as how national banknotes were floating around there, people were using these to pay for the goods and services. And it's kind of hard to believe that anyone would spend this, but it was a normal, regular occurrence. Okay? So this one's graded PMG, very fine 25, and it's got all the information on the top along with the Freeburg catalog number, which is the FR683. There you go. It's even got the backplate number and everything on there. How cool is this? Mr. Sherman never looked better. Tell you what. And you just take a look at the overall quality and detail of every nuance of the border and the font type style that they used. Secured by United States bonds deposited with the Treasurer of the United States of America, national currency. Here's a print, plate B. So you see that that brownish material at the bottom there that's staining. It's actually a foreign substance, which is also notated on the holder. Elliot Burke, that's the signature pairing on this one. But geez, take a look at that. The train is especially neat. And then if you wouldn't know any better, let me grab the pointer here. If you weren't paying too much attention, you could see the factories and stuff, shipyard in the background. This is actually a bay right here. This is actually water, so it's looking out onto the ocean there. And this is supposed to signify agriculture and just the hard work. Say, was that a sextant? It was big giant mallet. That's beautiful. That 50 right there with the leaves draping all over the place. All right, so size-wise, here's a $5 bill. Okay. So the $5 bill today is what we would call small notes, and then you have large notes, which would be this national. Now the 1929 nationals would be the smaller size notes. Okay, that was toward the back end of these things being used, but so finally, what exactly is a national banknote? Okay, we've determined that these probably won't ever show up at your local Bank of America or Chase or Wells Fargo. These things have been well out of circulation since about the 40s. You might be able to find some of the smaller notes out there. It's kind of tough. But this goes back 150 years. As a matter of fact, the National Currency Act was signed into legislation by Abraham Lincoln in 1863, as a matter of fact. And this, not this particular note, because this is a 1902, but the older ones like the 1880s and 1865 gold bearing notes. This was actually one of seven different types of currency that was circulating around at the time. It's kind of hard to comprehend because you also had legal notes, you had interest-bearing notes, you had just a regular Fed Reserve notes, Federal Reserve Bank notes. You had a whole run of different types of currency. If you were collecting paper money during the late 1800s and early 1900s, I can imagine it was probably the funnest thing that anybody can do because all of this stuff was virtually in every bank. So why the National Currency Act? Well, I'm going to read an excerpt from from this book I have. It's a United States Paper Money. Okay, it's the standard catalog, and it's by Krause Publishing, so that's where the credit goes. So the dual aim of the legislation was to provide a ready and steady market for the sale of United States bonds issued to finance federal involvement in the Civil War. Okay, and to create a sound bank currency to replace the general insecure issues of the state banks then in circulation. That seems like a lot of jargon. What it pretty much is they've allowed individual financial institutions, chartered banks, to basically print their own money and kind of launch this idea of quote unquote hometown bank business, okay, where you could go into your local national bank and pick up brand new notes that you could spend anywhere. Okay, it was a monetary instrument that you could use, and just pick it up with, at your own bank. It's have your own bank name on there. It's kind of crazy. The national banking system, or this National Currency Act, actually ended up ending in 1935. So the last final bills were sent off at that time. So the chartered banks, if they would place their initial order on various types of national currency. Okay, so the East St. Louis First National Bank, okay, they only issued 50s and 100s. Now, how rare is this particular note in comparison to some of the other notes out there in terms of rarity? Well, there's only about 22 of this type in the census, which would indicate it's a very small amount, okay? It's very rare. Like I said, this bank only issued 50s and 100s. They didn't do 5s, 10s, and 20s. Nothing like that. And by the way, there is no $1 national banknote. There is a $2, which is called a lazy deuce. The design of them is actually really neat. They got this curled, kind of like swooping engraving on the top here, and then there would be a number 2 right here. Probably one of the more expensive notes to ever find, but this is a national banknote, live and in person, a $50 type, which you don't typically see. 5s, 10s, and 20s are extremely common out there in all your favorite banks, but before I get too far ahead, I was discussing when these national banks place their orders, they would place, I want to order, they'll call up their currency comptroller, okay, who works for the BEP, and they would order, $20,000 in 50s for this specific, date. And we'll take 50,000 in the 100s, okay? And then through survival, a lot of them would be destroyed, damaged, things of that nature. When these go back to the bank after the end of the current national currency period, okay, a lot of them did indeed get destroyed. Okay, the banks would take them in, much like our banks today. If you brought in, say, a $5 bill that's torn in half, or is got holes or stained beyond belief, or it's pretty much a rag, they'll retain those and they'll send them off for destruction. Okay, whether they send them back to the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, or they have some other means or method. So a lot of these were lost during the period of 1930 and probably 1960. Okay, 1960, these things weren't worth nearly as much as they are today. So the value of this particular note right here is between $800 and $1,000. Okay, and the $100 note of the same type is somewhere in the $2,500 range. Okay, in terms of very fine, which is a pleasing condition. In spite of the foreign substance, this is a pretty neat note, okay? One that typically you won't come across in your local bank ever. So, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this one. As always, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The best way you can support my channel, as always, ladies and gentlemen, is to like, share, subscribe. But hitting that like button is most important to me. Stay tuned for more stuff. We got a lot more going on. Hope you guys enjoyed that giveaway yesterday, and we got more to come. You guys take care.